The lineal and WBC heavyweight champ Tyson Fury wants to come out of retirement again and fight before the year is out. But who he has called out is not who the world expected.
Hey, Tyson Fury here, aka the Gypsy King, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, as you can tell. I think you've all heard that I'm going to be fighting soon, within the next few months. And I think that before I announce an opponent, that I need to do this, just in case. Anthony Joshua, I know you've just lost a fight to Usyk, and you're doubtless at the moment. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to fight me for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World and the Lineal Championship in the next few months. You're coming off a 12-round fight, so you're match fit, you're ready. I'm giving you a few months' notice. If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble. A Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Let me know if you're interested. If not, I will select another opponent. Thank you very much and good night. Boom.
Instead of the unified WBA, IBF, and WBO champion Alexander Usyk, Fury wants to face the two-time unified champion Anthony Joshua, who Usyk just beat, again. But for Fury and AJ, this could be the move to make. At its most basic, a battle of Britain between Tyson Fury and his countryman Anthony Joshua at a stadium in England would be a hugely lucrative event that has to be tempting for both men. Fury versus AJ will not be as lucrative as it would have been had AJ reclaimed the 3 belts he lost, and the bout had been to crown the first undisputed champion in over 20 years. But it would still make them both an absolute fortune. For Usyk, the Ukrainian already doubted his chances of unification, especially at home, thanks to the Gypsy King's $500 million demand and Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
I am not the Gypsy King, but Tyson Fury is. No, I think it is impossible to get him to Ukraine. He can be dragged here for the second fight. We can say, come on, let's make a show, and we can promise him something in return. Maybe a plot of land. Does he only want gold? We can offer him a horse, but why when his feet will just drag along the ground? I don't know. He can dream about it, but I think it will remain only in his dreams. But dreams can come true.
Staying with the heavyweights, Andy Ruiz's run back to the titles took a huge leap forward. The former unified champion forced the division's boogeyman Luis Ortiz into a firefight and won. And now he's the WBC's mandatory challenger for Tyson Fury's belt. Ruiz may have been outboxed, but he blasted Ortiz with the heavier shots and dropped one of the deadliest men in the division 3 times on the way to the unanimous decision. Even though Ruiz is back in form and the WBC's mandatory challenger, the former champ is well aware of the fact he's not likely to get a fight with the WBC champ Fury anytime soon. In a brilliant twist, though, Ruiz called out the man he wants next, the former champ and hardest-hitting puncher in the game, the former WBC heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder. If Deontay wins in October, me and him are with the same management, and we can make this fight happen, said Ruiz. Let's get it on. I'm hungry, and I want to be champion again and bring that belt back to Mexico. Wilder faced Fury 3 times in a row, and he knocked down the Gypsy King 4 times. If Ruiz can deal with him, anyone with a belt will have a hard time denying Ruiz another shot at the title. To the boxing circus, where Jake Paul has announced his next opponent. The UFC's former middleweight champion, Anderson Silva, has signed on the dotted line, and he's easily Paul's biggest test to date. So far, the problem child has been facing social media influencers and former MMA champions with wrestling backgrounds and 0 professional boxing experience. Silva is not what you'd call a professional boxer, and he is 47. But he is one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, thanks largely to his out-of-this-world striking. Plus, Silva has recently made a run in the ring, beating fellow former UFC champion Tito Ortiz by knockout, and more importantly, the 35-year-old former boxing middleweight world champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Silva can really box. Paul versus Silva will be fought at a catchweight of 187 pounds between boxing's light heavy and cruiserweights. That bout is scheduled to go down at the Gila River Arena in Phoenix, Arizona, this October 29. To the junior bantamweights, Juan Francisco Estrada fended off a game Argy Cortez to retain the WBC franchise title, and more importantly, set up the long-awaited trilogy bout with Roman Gonzalez. Estrada versus Cortez was never expected to be easy, but Estrada was the favorite to keep the belt, and if he wanted to prove once and for all that he was the man to beat in the division, he had to win. Despite the 13-month layoff, Estrada came in hot and almost put Cortez away early. The challenger survived and power punched his way back into the fight until the 7th round, when he got dropped with a body shot. After that, it was all one-way traffic for the champ. Immediately after the win, Estrada announced the news we've all been waiting for. Estrada versus Roman Gonzalez 3 is set to go down this December 3. And in sad news, the multi-time heavyweight title contender, the Black Destroyer Ernie Shavers, has passed away at the age of 78. While he may have lost his 2 title fights, they were to Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes, and he held wins over the former champs Vicente Rondon, Jimmy Ellis, and Ken Norton. But what Shavers was most famous for was arguably the most devastating punch in boxing history. Ernie hit me so hard it shook my kinfolk back in Africa, was how the great Ali himself described it. And Ali fought Sonny Liston and George Foreman. Ernie could punch you in the neck with his right hand and break your ankle. That's from one of the most durable fighters in history, Tex Cobb. Being hit by Mike Tyson was like getting hit by a speeding Ferrari. Being hit by Ernie Shavers was like being hit by a Mack truck. That was Larry Holmes. But speaking of Mike Tyson, Shavers hit so hard he turned horse piss into gasoline. He hit me so hard he brought back tomorrow. That's from James Tillis, a title contender who was the first man to go 12 rounds with Tyson. I was in the land of make-believe. I heard saxophones, trombones, I saw little blue rats, and they were all smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. Rest in peace, Shavers.
Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.